What's up, everyone? It is I, Adam Prime, and we are back. Um,
It's been a
from
while.
from technical difficulties. We will get into that in a minute. With me, as always, is
Hi, everybody. I'm Stormy, as
and
usual.
so from technical difficulties. If you did not see my community post, my computer died, and then my phone died, which was bad. And
It's a
so,
little.
with my computer dying, we actually had lost some episodes. We had recorded all the way up to King Oger's ending,
The finale, yeah.
week to week.
We were just about to do.
Yeah.
We also did our live reaction
Oh yeah,
as well.
a
And
commentary
we were
track.
about
Yeah.
to do a retrospective, and that's when it died. So
Well, no, we finished it. We did our final talk for King
did
Oger,
we?
and it was episode 75.
Yeah. Oh god, that was such a shame. I'm so sad that that's.
We also
gone.
lost.
We tried really hard to try and recover it too.
And it's so funny because episode 73, the one before this, we were stating like we're going back to normal and everything else. We are finally caught up.
And everything caught on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing so good for so long.
So so the next 3 episodes we are going to be going thusly. This is only going to be strictly talking about Gotchard, and we're going to vaguely, I'm going to say, because some of these episodes we haven't watched since they aired, and because we recorded them before, we didn't think we'd have to fully remember.
So we kind of tossed that knowledge out of our brain a little bit.
So we have episodes.
We watched some of them, though, I remember.
We have 10 episodes of Gotchard to talk about.
There's a lot of Gotchard to talk about.
23 to 33.
Funny enough, though, we did kind of catch an interesting time for us to talk about, this group of episodes, because I feel like in these episodes kind of solidified our opinion for Gotchard, in a way. And I feel like we have, all of the demonstrations needed in order to,
we're near the end. We are 33 episodes in. We are 20-ish, if not less, episodes to be
We're more than
done.
halfway.
Yeah, we are halfway done. And
I'm going to be eating a lot of words, because I know that, the last recorded instance of us talking about this that anyone would have seen, I was still trying to hold on to, the positives and everything, and I was, very much, I was fighting for it a little bit.
Well, it's super funny, because the next episode we did lose the recording for was you hating the ZQ and Pyre episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, you thought we were like, well, at least we're over that hump, and I'm like, oh no, we have another part. And there have been so many different power-up forms, one-off forms that we've seen that I don't even know if it's worth mentioning. There was some girl who I can't remember. I think she was like, I'm in love with the vampire, and I was the first person to love him, but then my boyfriend's a piece of shit, and I leave him at the end. I think that was her plot.
Girl power?
I think. But it's just... Okay, let's just...
we also lost our very first impressions of Boom Boonger as well.
Oh, yeah,
I'm realizing.
We will get into that in the Boom Boonger episode.
Yeah, because we are going to be doing Gotchard. We are going to be catching up with,
Boom Boonger as well.
And Boom Boonger, so.
So, yeah.
But, funny thing, I don't know if, you want to go into this more later, but, we've gotten to know Gotchard, and, it's...
Problems.
I was gonna say, it's attributes, I guess, but I guess you could say problems, to the point where we started making a bingo card.
Yeah, and
for each episode,
exactly.
And it's actually pretty solid at the moment. To
and
the point where maybe later we might turn it into a game. But...
And pretty much we get the continuing plot until he obviously is no longer a villain, of the teacher, and the teacher is such a weirdly wishy-washy character that I don't even know if I care. That's the thing is, that's what the biggest problem with this show is. The characters are okay at best, annoying and or useless at worst.
I feel like there was ideas for characters, they made a character, if you were a creator and you were writing down the personalities of these characters and talking about what made them characters, what makes them interesting, what makes them different, I feel like that's technically there, but it feels like it's those bullet points and nothing else. It's never really explored or anything, which is again something I'll probably bring up a little bit later, since it does come up within the next group of episodes we're going to be talking about.
Well, yeah.
But
And
I mean, it's not without compliments, but
oh yeah, I forgot what they explained what a common rider was. It was apparently the name of the alchemist at the dawn of time.
it appeared 120 years ago.
That's stupid. And then we also get an explanation of what the ring charging thing for Rine is, and we
That was
have
actually
more
one of the things
money.
I was gonna mention for that. Yeah.
And we also have more mummies getting thrown into cum water.
Cummies.
Yeah. And we get so many new forms. Yes, it's like 10 episodes. That doesn't sound like, oh yeah, we're not going to
We've
get that
gotten a
many
new
forms.
form. At one point, almost borderline every other episode.
Well, here's the
at
thing.
Some point.
We just got Fire Gotchard and set up how he needed to get Fire Gotchard, and we end
God,
episode 24 with Iron Gotchard. It's like, yes, we didn't see the fight start fighting.
I'm realizing we're gonna have to talk about the ending of King Oger. It's literally been so long. Oh my god.
Well, yeah, that's why we have like less episodes of Boom. That's why we only are talking about 9 episodes of Boom Boonger, but 10 episodes of Gotchard because they had weeks where King Oger was still around.
Oh god, I miss King Oger so much already. I remember we were rewatching some stuff because we're gonna be talking about that as well. Stay tuned. But like,
will probably be recorded after this.
yeah. Just god, thinking about.
Just what
how much I
happened.
miss it. I love King Oger so much.
But yeah, no,
it's my favorite.
So he goes Iron Gotchard.
I bought their sword.
And we pretty much get to see, like, who, like, Rine's dad show up and just be like, yes, I was the one who taught him how to Iron Gotchard.
Are we actually, like, going through these episodes at some point? Because, like,
no.
why don't we just start doing that? Like,
can we just...
Are we not going to talk about anything in general? Or...
Do you have anything you want to talk about the last things I've been talking about?
Are we just basically doing a general recap
Yes,
then?
because we pretty much... Okay, long story short, Rine's dad shows up, dies.
Loved Gotchard more than her.
Yeah, exactly. It's looked like he was like, oh, yes, my son. It's like, I'm not your son. You could be my son. Girl, marry him!
So he can be my son.
I need my son.
Give me grandchildren. I don't know.
I don't know. That's stupid, but we'll get to a love plot in a little bit. That's dog shit. I feel like I'm being a little harsh, but then we also got to see her dad is technically a common rider, and his name is Wind, and it's stupid. His suit looks pretty awesome, though. You don't like it, apparently. I like it. His is like a black hole and like a dragon, so like the opposite of his daughter's, who's a unicorn and the sun. And
sure. I don't know, it's just like...
We see the end of Greyon. Like, okay, wait.
I haven't really gotten to say basically anything so far,
go
by
ahead.
the way. Like, I keep trying to intervene.
Okay, take it.
I don't know, like, at this point, I'm just wondering, what are we talking about? Because, like, I came into this kind of anticipating, like, oh, we were gonna at least, like, oh, this kind of stuff happened in this episode, this one, you know, like, at least, like, kind of go through the phases of, like, how at least the show made us feel as we were going, and, like, how we started to really form our opinions.
To be fair, we binge-watched most of these other episodes recently, so it's like, I
know,
really
so I'm just,
the
like, shouldn't we at least, like, give, well, okay, assuming that we're not going to be, like, going through each individual episode a lot, should we at least, like, be like, oh, at about this time, this is, when this started happening, blah blah blah, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I'm suggesting, besides, because you're just like flying through it, and I'm just like, are we gonna stop and talk about anything, or
like, okay, do you have anything to comment about so
well
far?
I mean, think about it this way, this is a lot where like Rine really started to kind of show how she was solidifying her usefulness levels in this show.
You mean uselessness?
Yeah, that was kind of what I was hinting at, dumbass.
Well,
I love you.
She just keeps getting slapped around.
I mean, like, again, like, what I was telling you about, it feels like there was, like, bullet points for, like, these characters, and then, like, nothing else. Like, oh, like, Rine, oh, like, she can be a common rider, but, like, she
even got a power-up form.
Again, like, she gets her ass kicked every single time. She got a cool power-up. Again, all these suits look great, but, like, what am I gonna do with that? Anything. It's like, oh, she needs to recharge her thing because she uses more energy while she's doing it.
Mana.
And then you would think because, like, she would be stronger, not only because she's the secondary rider, that's usually kind of like a thing of like, oh, like, they're kind of strong, they're pretty cool, whatever. But it's like, oh, it's also because she's a more experienced alchemist. She's literally been studying
She should
way
be
longer.
better.
She should be better, but it's like, it's not. And then, like, oh, they solved that problem. Like, oh, she has to charge her ring. But at this time, it's like there's no point to it because it's like oh like maybe there could have been any
It's a
drama or build up of like oh she can't transform because her ring's not charged. I think they brought it up like once.
I feel like it's a problem only when the writers decide it is.
Exactly, and then like I don't know, and then like it's like they don't use their most interesting characters that they have available for them. There's
I still don't even care about iPad. I'm talking about in general right now. I still don't give a fuck about whatever Hick Valley girl is and iPad Kid. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just there sometimes, and they have now only recently decided to fight
become
back.
useful. They only recently, and it's like again, the show is more than halfway over, and they're only just now starting to like actually be useful. It's like, God.
What are you doing?
And like just, what was I gonna say?
But yeah, no, just Renee keeps getting slapped around, and also she like sometimes has like heals, but then sometimes she doesn't within the same shot. It's so funny.
I feel like sometimes there's like almost a painful amount of padding for time, and then there's others where it's just like why are they dedicating like an entire episode to something? This is what I was gonna talk about, of just the fact of like it feels like again, now that I can see a bigger, broader scope of this show, like, because Dread, I remember, was one of the last episodes. I was like, that was a good episode.
Well, what about Valverod's debut episode?
Oh, Valverod's debut as well was very good. But it's like, I feel like the majority of the show is meh at best. And then, like, the hills and valleys of, like, oh, that was a really bad episode, or that was a really good episode. Like, there's more bad ones there than there are good ones, and they're just so far and few. They're so few and far in between, you know, the really good episodes. I feel like we haven't had one since Valverod's debut.
Yeah, with his parents looking when he found out his parents died.
Again, it feels like Gotchard himself hasn't really grown or changed that much at all. Renee hasn't. I feel like these characters are just doing things. Like they're not actually being characters.
They're not growing.
They're not growing. They're not really changing. I feel like they. Okay, you want to talk about the love plot a little bit?
Because... No, wait. Before we get into that. Okay, wait. I want to say something else. Because I'm realizing, because this started during these episodes.
Yeah, this is where my disdain almost started to grow. Oh, the
Greyon.
We haven't talked about this yet, technically, no. Oh my god.
No, we haven't. So Greyon kept now just saying Kemi's story, which is the theme song's name, and somebody's like, well, it's cool that they fit the theme song in there, but it only started recently, so it feels so forced and terrible.
Oh god, I remember again when we originally talked about it, I was just like, how much you want to bet it's because they just like
they don't know what they're doing.
Like while they were writing, like they got sent the theme song or something like that, and they're like, oh, that's really cool, we should incorporate that, and it doesn't sound cool. I remember
but this show feels like it's lost itself.
And I feel like it doesn't really have a soul at the moment. It's like I love the parts where like I can compliment this show when it is necessary. It's like, I feel like when the characters actually get a chance, like the actors themselves get a chance to act, they do deliver. They do well. When they get that chance to actually show emotions and do something and be something, they do that. And it's like, but like, we see it a little bit when Renee's dad is dying recently. I remember one of the last times I complimented this was in like the cave episode, which was like, in the single digits?
Yeah.
It's like the third or fourth episode, wasn't
it? Well, the episode after the one with Iron Gotchard debuts, where her dad dies, her dad shows up, shows that he's broken as shit. Like, him as a common writer was broken.
No, the part that upset you the most was the fact that everybody acknowledges the fact that he wasn't a traitor, and yet he was treated so.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's just like, oh no, he wasn't actually bad.
He was a cool guy.
It seems like the only person that got told that was Renee at this point.
Was Renee
but
and
no
the
one,
teacher.
But no one believed it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Valverod was like, no, we all knew he was good. And Madame Exposition, I don't remember what her name is.
Literally, like, one of the things on the fucking bingo card was Madame Exposition. Because, specifically, Valverod's
creator,
teacher,
friend,
guardian,
mother,
figure,
somebody.
I don't know. We actually meet his mom. It's not his mom.
Well, yeah, his mom's dead.
My mom is dead. But it's just like, but at the same time, it's like every time that she comes on screen, it's to exposition dump and just tell you what's going on.
But yeah, no,
this show does such a bad case of like. I guess tell don't show, because it seems like so much of the interesting stuff that happens in this show is just people saying that that's what's going on, rather than being like, oh, this is interesting because look, it's just interesting.
Also, when her dad is dying,
Another thing,
like,
Kingdom Hearts ass shit
oh, yeah.
was another thing.
Oh
on there.
yeah, because as soon as we saw the dark door, we had talked about the dark door, which, by the way, spoiler alert, it gets opened. They open the dark door.
Honestly, that's a whole ass conversation I will get into.
We will get to that after we're done talking about how broken Renee's dad was. Like, do you not remember he was like walking around teleporting everywhere? Just I'm like, you could have done this? Are you fucking kidding? You're an asshole.
Fairly's a glass cannon, though.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because all of a sudden, Greyon immediately then stabs him, and he becomes goo.
I don't know what the fuck the. Oh god, there's so much stuff where it's like, what were you?
Oh yeah, because then he stole the last of the chemis, and that's why he had the Iron Gotchard. And they
honestly,
had a cauldron.
by the way, I gotta admit, Iron Gotchard, fucking great suit. I love that.
Oh, Iron Gotchard looks awesome. Too bad 2 episodes later we get Platinum Gotchard.
Oh yeah, which one was that? That was the.
That's the new. That's his like quote unquote newest one at the moment. He has not replaced it yet. I know,
like the dread suit got like the unicorn add-on, and then
it got the
and then it got like the Oni add-on.
The Dione add-on, yeah.
So there's just potential with things that they could have done and didn't, and.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but they're still somewhat collecting chemis. Oh yeah, I don't even remember
I
what
think
this
at one point
I
was just like, watch, they're gonna start like the second that like Greyon. I don't know if this is in a show anymore or not, but like. Of like, oh, like once Greyon came in and it was like, oh, like the little kid one,
Atropos, I think is their name.
Atropos, the small one, the baby,
the 8-year-old, the 8-year-old, the one that's literally an 8-year-old.
It was like, oh, like kind of the only one that was like vibing with him. It's like, watch, everyone is gonna defect eventually or something. And like, guess what? They started to do that, but it was kind of
put a pin
really
in her.
Weird in a little weird way.
Okay, wait, actually no. This was straight up weird, because it literally just went from like the teacher just being like, don't worry guys, I'm actually a double agent, I'm making sure Greyon's not doing anything, and then she literally, like, not prompted as far as I can remember, like, she suddenly was like, why didn't you just eliminate let Greyon kill you or something, or like have the Kamen Riders help us or some bullshit, and I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? What are you talking about? Yeah, it kind of came
out of nowhere a little bit. I knew it was going to happen eventually, just because of tropes, but, you know.
But, yeah, no, and she just kind of continues on and does defect.
Yeah.
And becomes a Valvarod, which is weird.
And then the strong lady, again, I don't remember
buff
any
one.
of them. The buff one. They actually kind of
Exterminator girl from Amazons.
Melina from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, she definitely had some Melina feels when she got that power up.
For sure, yeah. God.
Oh yeah, do you remember the guy we thought was gonna be Gotchard's dad, who was like the friend that the teacher let get killed?
God, there's like so many things where it's just like, what was the point? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Even now I'm remembering, like, oh, I remember the thing with like the 8-year-old one when they said the first time it's just like, oh, you just want to be my friend or whatever, which happens again. It goes about just as well. It's fucking stupid. They showed like a flash of her being like an actual child. So, and remember we had a bunch of questions of like, oh, is she possessed? Like, is this an actual kid? And then it's like, I think they never really went back to it. The only thing I think they've given us was like, that was Greyon's actual daughter, ? Because we learned that these girls, maybe except for her, are like,
well, yeah,
we're the little clay dudes, but or something like that.
Well, yeah, they say they're not humans. They're also similar to the mummies. They call them dolls.
Yeah, something like that. And I'm just like, it feels like they're just giving us information.
Well, yeah, it's like the teacher's
thing. And expecting us to do the rest, I think.
Well, yeah. Well, it's like they go back to the Onslaught day.
And it's funny you say that, oh, he was like an undercover agent for them.
I think.
I
could be wrong.
No, I think that you're right. I think that is what happened. But like, later on, it's just like, they have to be like, come on, you can do it. Come back to us. You know, you don't have to be evil anymore. But it's like, didn't he tell you he was a double agent? Like,
I think. Either way, but you find out one of the main reasons he was working for him because he was there when Greyon did like his initial assault, and he got a kid thrown against the wall and then he got crushed. Which I thought. Well,
to be fair, the rest of the people that were in that room also died because they killed each other. Remember?
Oh yeah, he literally did nothing. He just sat there and watched them kill each other. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, the guy, his friend that died, I was 90% sure they were going to reveal it was, like, Gotchard's dad or Ichinose's dad, because he was like, I'm going to break the rules and make sure the laws and chemis and people can hang out. And I'm like, that's Is that Gotchard's dad?
I don't even know if it was. It probably
Yeah, we
wasn't.
never got caught.
We don't even know what the fuck is up with his dad. We know more about Rine's dad than his.
Yeah, I like how that was a plot point since episode, like, what, 3 or 4? They were like, oh, who's Hotaro's dad? We have never come back to that. We barely see his mom.
Yeah.
I think we saw her recently. Honestly,
we do see her every once in a while, but it's always just like, you crazy kids, and then she's gone, you know?
Well, yeah, but do you remember that, like, we thought, like, there was gonna be something more important to happen, but then, like, we never see him. There was a point when we were rewatching these episodes where I thought they wrote out and got rid of his friend.
I remember you had pointed out, I was like, where the fuck did he go? I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, we haven't seen him.
And then we also had to think,
and then he immediately showed back up again in, like, the
episode.
Renge, that's her name. Like, when we went back to her town. I
and
remember
we
because
met
I always mess up their name. Honestly, by the way, missed opportunity, because it feels like in these, it feels like there's always, like, these, okay, look, after, like, in, like, the episodes, like, that we're talking about, where, like, they go to, like, her town and stuff like that, it was kind of after a lot of the stuff with Greyon happened, which felt like an ending, first of all. It really felt like the show should have ended there, essentially.
Oh, the ones after Ring. Oh, yeah, because as soon as those episodes started, I was like, they're gonna open the dark door, and it's just gonna eat Greyon. I'm like, $10
No, there's gonna be, like, a big, like, eldritch creature. You're really specific, and you kind of hit the nail on the head.
Well, yeah, because you just see the hand just be like, oh, man, you're mine.
Yeah, and then they go to her town, and I was like, and it felt like the earlier episodes again, and it felt almost refreshing, because I was like, okay, they went back to the bar that they set. It wasn't even that was super good or anything like that, but it felt like the show went back to normal for a bit, and I was like, okay, cool, so it's just we're having a cool down or something. And then I thought they were going to start developing the characters, because Renge, Hick Lady, got, like, the spirit, like, Chemi beads that were all 6s, I think, right?
Well,
so
no, they were all planets.
That'll be her, or, like, okay, that'll be her thing, like, that, and, like, she'll get, like, a power-up, and then maybe, like, iPad Kid will get a thing, and then, like, they can be more useful, which they started to do, and then she didn't keep them, and they're still useless, and...
Well, yeah, exactly.
And then it's just, like, even at one point, when it's, like, we started going into more of, like, the one defecting, the one that was defecting, and the one that was, and the one that's just like, no, I need to fight. I'm Goku. That's my drive, essentially. Like, I need to be strong and fight.
Buff one.
I don't even fucking remember what her resolve even was at this point.
I don't think we've gotten that done. I don't think it's been solved yet.
I don't even fucking know. But, like, again, she turned into, like, Melina. and it feels like it's like, okay, so they should be developing them. It sounds like that's what they're supposed to be doing. And they're fucking not.
Well, yeah. But, like... It's one of those things to where it's like it just felt like pointless one-off characters.
It feels pointless. Like, I even said, what is the point of us watching this show? What is the goal? What is the story? What is the story? Who is the bad guy? Why are we watching this? Like,
well, no, you remember even Gotchard himself questioned why were the Hades sisters fighting them anymore.
Yeah, and I was just like, exactly. Dead. And then the show pointed it out back to me, and I was like, okay, show, why am I watching you? What is your point?
Well, then we get into the legend stuff. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to talk about Greyon's death, because it's like this big fight, and then it was...
They had swords for some reason.
Also, do you remember when the 8-year-old transformed into Dread, and she was still normal-sized?
Yeah, I mean, I get it, though. They probably only have one.
It would have been funny to see a tiny Dread, though.
That would have been pretty cool.
Just very tiny. But yeah, no.
I mean, they did one thing of, like, having the Dread, like, suit actor, like, do different, like, positions and, like, mannerisms to like, be significant for each of the characters, and I don't remember if there was anything
also
particularly different about when they were in charge.
Also, something I still found frustrating, and this did get recorded, when they were in the ZQ-Empire episodes, why the fuck did none of them, not one of them, go after the vampire sucking out people's life?
They stopped splitting up. They started dressing similar, and then they were attached at the fucking hip, and Rine couldn't fucking do anything.
Yeah, no, seriously. We were noticing that Rine and Ichinose were just color matching, and we will get to that in the Romeo and Juliet episodes. Yes, you heard me fucking right. There are Romeo and Juliet episodes, and the more time passes, and realizing how pointless that whole little diversion was, because after
they were setting us up for something actually interesting, and then they not only under-delivered, but it feels like they kneecapped themselves.
But yeah, Greyon gets killed by Platinum Gotchard because he is now a new form and is all powerful because he can use all these chemi abilities, and he turned to
There's
like Hopper 1 to
they used
Crosshopper, who's a
wasn't
cute little baby
wasn't
boy.
it a thing where like it's like, oh, he's using ancient alchemy and there are
Yeah.
consequences? I haven't seen jack shit for
Well, no, because
consequences.
the consequences are now done now that he is friends with both Steamliner and Crosshopper. Because remember, he didn't have Crosshopper. Crosshopper's what's helping
He's
him.
super cute.
He
Little
is
golden
cute.
dude.
He a little hat, and he's on the boobs.
Oh, God. I'm just...
So yeah, after the yokai episodes, we have Ichinose's
That was
childhood.
fun. By the way, the yokai episode was fun.
Childhood friend show up.
It's such a typical like anime, like Toku. Is it just a Japanese trope at this point, or is it more just anime? Like,
I have no idea.
But anyway, it's just like, oh, the childhood friend is back into town. Don't you remember when you promised to marry me? And like, all of like the typical things that you would hear from that. And there's actually a little bit of contention from Rine.
Oh yeah, wait. Do you remember that?
Oh my god, I forgot fucking Dawn Brothers they got two Dawn Brothers.
Sonaza and Kajino were just randomly there.
They were there for like 4 seconds and then never appeared again.
I don't know. I don't know what they were doing, but they were like, join our club, and then we never
saw them again. What the absolute fuck was up with that? What is the point?
That was a weird cameo.
They have $20 to pay each of these actors. Like, hey, can you just show up for like 5 seconds in my show and just stand next to each other?
Yeah.
Oh my god. But yeah. The childhood friend and everything, and like you think this is actually gonna be interesting. Like, oh, are they going to have the first secondary female writer end up in a relationship with the main writer? And I'm just like, okay,
they had this weird love tension, was because it's almost like Rine got jealous that she was around, but then they never commit or say anything, and it literally
to either of them. Because
even Ichinose was like, hey,
I know
you're being kind of rude to like
my
girlfriend, but totally maybe is my girlfriend. I don't know.
My friend,
and that's not cool.
Who's a girl?
Cool. And I have a secret thing I can't tell you about, which is obviously more wizardry, but I can't tell you that.
And just like Rita never even says a fucking word about it. Like it just kind of like they played music and she made a face. Like,
and oh my god, they even
like that. Like,
they even did the whole trope to where his childhood friend is gonna play Juliet, but then Rine remembers all the lines. Oh yeah, because
there was a kid that's just like, oh, I got super inspired by this play and I wanted to do it, but no one wants to join my drama club. But they're like, we'll do it with you. Let's do Romeo and Juliet. And she's like, I'll be Juliet. And they're like, okay.
Gotchard got to be Romeo, I
guess. Yeah, he's just like, well, they asked him to be Romeo, to be fair. And then like, I don't know, some shit happens, and like, by the way, this actress looks the childhood friend actor looks so familiar, but like apparently she is not from anything else I think I would recognize. No. And like her and Rine get into an argument, which by the way, Rine quote unquote argument. Rine and Ichinose are both wearing tracksuits. Again, they got a match. In sync tracksuits. Again, I don't know what their problem is. It started with hats and now it's tracksuits. Oh yeah, the matching bucket hats that they wore. Oh, we also got an octopus monster, which was pretty cool. Again, the suits in the show are pretty good. Like, yeah, the monster suits are awesome. They're all pretty solid. I don't have any like big. But yeah, with again, those, really. Nothing really came about that episode outside of you seeing that what's her face wants to be more powerful, which then leads into this whole random episode to where these reuses of characters from Geo. They still have the logo on their forehead. The stickers are peeling. You can see. Did you see that the sticker was peeling? And like I guess the main boss traps them, and like they tease that Legend's gonna show up, which he doesn't that whole episode because it like opens up with like even the shooter. It's a 3-part, and he only shows up in like the third one, doesn't he? No, at the ending of the second one. Oh right, because we haven't watched the third one yet. That's next week. Yeah, and there's like these like freaking like villain guys. What I call it? Not like quarters. The Organization 13 people just like the pop not up. Quarters. Yeah, the not the quarters. Not and then they pull out different people like different like villain like drivers. Like they had the Vision driver, they had the Kiva driver, what was the other one? Eternal. So we had a Dark Kiva, Eternal, and Glare. Right. Which by the way, Glare can apparently take over other riders. That's not how that worked last time, but you know what? They were probably going off of Cliff Notes, so whatever. So who gives a shit? Also, yeah, never mind. I don't even want to bring that fucking garbage up. There was something else, but whatever.
Either way, and for the billionth time, we had Gotchard's friend realizing that he's a common rider.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I just stumbled on my words,
And
but then he
we had a
also
very
meets.
Toku speech, yeah.
We also meet the butler because yes, he's now part of the story, and he meets himself, and he's just like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Mm-hmm.
And that was stupid. And then they finally get out of this maze from these villains. I guess I'm not even quite sure.
It's a labyrinth or something. I don't know.
And that's why we go into the whole second episode with all these Kamen Rider-like ones. And then Legend shows up at the end. And pretty much is like...
He just beats them up, basically.
Yeah, beats them up, becomes Kuga. We also get to see Zine, which is a character you don't know about, who's from Outsiders, and I haven't watched Outsiders, so I don't even really know who he is. But yeah, so he pretty much shows that he can turn into Kuga and a bunch of other riders because why the fuck not?
I'll admit again, like I still like the gold accent on seeing the gold accent on some of these other suits. I feel like it works.
And then they show
really
you,
pretty.
which I don't mind this form. I think the form itself is fine. It's a little weird and kind of wild.
I mean, to be fair, like I've seen like other suits where it's like, oh, they have to incorporate a bunch of the gimmick, like oh, a bunch of cards or a bunch of like
Geo.
bottles or Geo, you know, it's like, and like honestly this one works for what it is. It works. So
the name is dumb though. Legendary Legend, really?
You know, it's funny, like you were like when you're like, hey, I figured out what the name of the form was, and I was like, what? He's like, it's a really stupid name, try and guess. And I said gorgeous, and you're like, you know what, that's too clever. And I was like, oh dear god. And then when you said Legendary Legend, I just audibly sighed. I was
it's not fun. It doesn't know where it's going.
I would call it like
I didn't even like the Legend stuff by the end of the second part of the Legend special, and then you throw him into the main show. You guys are grasping at straws on what the hell to do.
What is this show about at the moment?
That's what I'm wondering.
I'm just like I'm almost like looking forward to seeing like what exactly are like the next couple of episodes like going to look like, because it's like, are they going to try and establish another villain? Are they going to try and establish...
Well, they already did. You remember? It's that weird, like, guy who has 3 eyes. Did we get a screenshot of him? I thought we did. He's somewhere. He's like... I think they're trying to tease that he's the guy who came out of the dark hole or whatever.
Look, at the end of the day, I feel like at best, I can already say the show is at best going to be mid. Well, like, it's gonna be like, it's fine. Like, if it's your first Kamen Rider and you love it super dearly,
if you're having
I understand.
fun, go ahead.
Yeah, if you're having fun with the show and you like it, go right ahead and love it. I'm happy for you.
By the way, can we talk about the Valverod that's now sponsored by Monster Energy?
Yeah.
Like, this is so lazy. You couldn't even make her whole armor that green.
Look, you can even tell it's like a sticker or something that they put over it. You can see, like...
Well, it's exactly where it's like, why didn't you just make all the pink parts that green or something?
Or, like, I don't know, give it, like... make the skirt like black and lace instead, like ripped lace to make it look like hers. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, she has a wrench and she can turn into Valverod.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Whatever.
Yeah. Overall, it's like, I don't know why. It seems like every time we binge Gotchard, our opinion on it always seems to drop. And it's just, now you're deep enough into where it's like, you know there's no upturn. Like, the upturn will be when it's ending and you know it's going to be taking things onto high ground.
This is not the worst show.
No, this is not the worst.
Yeah, I've seen much worse. Again, like that's why I said it's like at worst it's, you know, at best it's gonna be like mid.
We also did get to see Yellowing Blade. He's there.
Honestly, the fading color makes it match with the gold more, ironically.
But yeah, do you have any final thoughts on Gotchard? Do you have anything to say about Platinum Gotchard?
Again, the suits are nice. I just wish that they would... I don't know. I feel like there's so much potential with this show that they just don't grasp. That they just don't do anything with. It feels like things just kind of happen. Characters just kind of do things. Things just kind of happen to them. And I'm just like, there's nothing...
Our goal was not to set out to be this harsh, but we're not having fun.
I truly did not want to hate Gotchard. Like, all I ever ask whenever I start a show is, like, entertain me and at least be fun. You know, like, you don't have to be, like... You don't have to be, like, Shakespeare, like fucking King Oger. You don't have to be super, like, complicated and like, more adult-lenient, like how Geats was. Like, as long as you're fun, then whatever.
And we're not gonna lie, and we will probably get in more of this when we're getting to Boomunjer. Like, this show broke us a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
It broke us a little bit. Because, again, this is supposed to be a show that they were like, we're going to go back to basics. And they did in a way, but then they also didn't realize... What do we do with the plot? nobody thought about it, and here we are. And that's not good. That's not good at all.
Yeah, and like it got to the point where like because it's like oh we're going back and because it's like again we had to rewatch some stuff to record everything because of the technical stuff because we couldn't even watch a lot of stuff for a long time because of that.
Well, yeah, because my computer, we needed that.
It died. It kaputted. But it made me like when it's like okay we have to because they put out an extended edition of King Oger
We're
where
gonna
it's
get into the next time.
we will but it's like oh it's all the last 3 episodes linked together maybe
It's
some
the
extra...
director's cut.
Yeah, it's the director's cut and a couple extra scenes sprinkled in probably. I love King Oger. You guys have seen how much I love this show and I was hesitant to go back and rewatch it just because I was just like I felt like it would put me in a bad mood like how Gotchard does.
It just burnt us out, man.
It
We
burnt me
tried
out.
so hard to like it and it just kind of just didn't do anything.
And it's
that's its worst problem.
Yeah. It's like I can definitely see a lot of people tuning out.
Well, I've seen so many people kind of be done with it. But what are you guys thinking of Gotchard? Like, are you guys enjoying it? Are you where we're at? Are you more of just like it's not that bad?
If you like it, it's just like again, like
yeah, again, good for you.
I love it. And it's like maybe you can even tell us why you love it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say? Honestly, this ran longer than I thought it would have.
It's probably
Still not that long.
It's probably along the longest.
It's gonna be the
we've
shortest
talked about
one.
it. I don't know. Like, do you have any compliments you want to throw its way?
The suits are nice, and some of the fights are kind of interesting, but not really.
Some of the cinematography is a little weird, but like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't have anything significant to say about it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't really. It's like
Again,
I want to try to be positive, but it's like
it should have ended. It felt like it should have ended, and it's like, what's the point of us continuing to watch this?
Exactly. But it's one of those things to where it's like I would have more positive if I was having fun, and I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And all I can say is, it's around.
Mm-hmm. We'll probably get into this more, like when we talk about again King Oger and Boom Boonger.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing. The only other reason I don't really have any much else to say is because there wasn't anything I was having that much fun. I didn't like the yokai episodes. I didn't like the Zenkupire. Like, just seeing the end of Greyon just felt like, oh, thank fucking God, finally. Instead of me being like, oh, yeah, you got him back. Like, none of the drama was working for me. Then the episodes afterwards just felt like meandering to the point where I'm like, why? Oh, and we're doing Romeo and Juliet now. That's fucking weird. It's whatever, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just at the point of not caring anymore. And it's one of those things to where I'm like, I'm curious to see what the hell they're going to do at this point because it just sounds like they're trying to figure out how to get the sinking boat to float.
Mm-hmm.
Like
they're trying to bail out as much water as possible.
Exactly. So,
And then there's some guys like, I'll help, and then they're like drilling holes into it to be like, this will help the water get out.
But yeah, so tell us down in the comments what you guys think.
Yeah, what are you feeling? I think that's... Well, I feel like anything else, it would just be getting into the nitty-gritty. I don't...
So...
They put out a Punk Jack card.
Yeah. So, until next week.
Cool. Alright, guys.
Yep.
I'm happy to be back, so...
Yep. Until next week. And we're going to be wrapping up King Oger for episode 75. So, thank you so much for listening. And until whatever we do next.
Bye-bye!
Bye-bye!